Did the world's biggest female pop stars soar only because the Songbird Supreme was quietly pushed off the runway? Imagine ruling every chart in sight, writing your own anthems, and then almost overnight watching your influence recycled by the very artists who once called you their muse. For 3 decades, rumors have swirled that Mariah Carey's sudden stumble wasn't just bad timing or burnout, but a calculated power grab, engineered by people she knew and even admired. Now, with whispers that Mariah is finally ready to unload her receipts, fans are bracing for the day the music industry's most glamorous cold case cracks open. But to understand how the crown might have been lifted, we've got to rewind to the decade when Mariah wrote the entire playbook. Back in the 1990s, every summer jam, holiday anthem, and breakup ballad seemed to carry one unmistakable signature: MC. 19. Now, one hits, most of them self-penned, put her in a league only the Beatles had touched. Labels loved the revenue but loathed the precedent, a multiracial woman steering her own sound, producing her own records, and rewriting the rulebook on crossover success. Unable to box her in musically, tabloids built another box diva, demanding too glamorous to be serious, painting her sequined gowns as armor for an ego run wild. Yet beneath the glitter sat a blueprint any ambitious singer could study: own your pen, defend your masters, and hit notes nobody else dares attempt. Still on the other side of the TV screen, a Houston teenager with a battered VHS tape kept pressing rewind. Every time Mariah vaulted into whistle register, that teen scribbled mental notes. Those notes would resurface later in stadiums filled with flashing wristbands and synchronized choreography. But first, the fangirl phase. But if imitation is the sincerest form of flattery, why did the flattery suddenly disappear? Early 2000s interviews show Beyoncé practically glowing while recounting how Vision of Love made her say, "I want to sing." She dissected Mariah's acrobatic riffs, the way athletes dissect game tape, later calling the track the moment she realized vocal runs could feel like fireworks. Yet as Destiny's Child morphed into the Beyoncé era, those public shout-outs faded like an Instagram story: here today, vanished tomorrow. Pop culture blogs tracked the switch, noting that B, once eager to pronounce Mariah's name, now pivoted to comparing herself to Michael Jackson or Prince instead. Was it mere rebranding or something colder? Industry insiders whisper that building a once-in-a-generation narrative demands outshining anyone who previously wore that label, especially if her voice still echoes every December. An inconvenient idol can be refiled under soft influence, leaving the throne wide open for a new monarch to claim. And while Beyoncé redrafted her origin story, another force was about to rewrite Mariah's present by literally lifting a melody out from under her. Summer 2001, Mariah locks down a slice of a 1978 Japanese disco track called Firecracker, eager to thread its synth riff through Loverboy, the single meant to launch her film Glitter. Weeks later, radios erupt with Jennifer Lopez chanting over the very same sample on I'm Real. Confused fans couldn't know what insiders murmured. Mariah's ex-husband and Sony Music CEO, Tommy Mottola, allegedly rerouted the clearance, gifting it to J.Lo to kneecap his former wife's comeback. With the sample yanked, Mariah scrambled to re-record Loverboy, swapping in obscure loops at the 11th hour, while tabloid headlines mocked a breakdown. Meanwhile, Lopez rode the borrowed hook straight into heavy rotation, cementing herself as a pop titan even skeptics said couldn't belt past the second balcony. To onlookers, it looked like mere coincidence. To those backstage, it felt like watching a home you built furnished by someone else while you were still standing in the doorway. Mariah would later write that every wrong turn during Glitter traced back to one furious mogul intent on proving no woman walks away from his empire unscathed. Carey's album tanked, the movie flopped, and industry gatekeepers declared her reign over. But was the Firecracker fiasco an isolated hit job, or the opening move in a bigger game that would keep Mariah muted while two new icons stepped into her spotlight? For more than 20 years, whispers trailed Jennifer Lopez's biggest hits, whose voice was really gliding through those choruses. The chatter began as faint gossip on fan forums, then mushroomed in 2024 when an engineer leaked raw stems from I'm Real. Under the polished lead sat Ashanti's unmistakable contralto, perfectly synced right down to the breath before each hook. Producers brushed the leak off as reference takes, yet the public heard something closer to ventriloquism. Online detectives went to work. TikTok creators posted spectral displays of Lopez's vocals compared against Ashanti's demos, the two waveforms overlapping like carbon copies. Hashtags #WhoSangIt And #Justice for Ashanti soared past 200 million views in a month. Even loyal J.Lo fans began asking uncomfortable questions if the guide singer is still audible. Why wasn't she credited? Ashanti broke her silence in a late-night podcast, admitting she took a flat fee and signed an NDA when she was 19. "I thought it was a one-off," she confessed. "Then I turned on the radio and heard my own vowels coming out of somebody else's mouth." Within hours, the clip hit every timeline and reporters demanded an answer from Lopez's camp. The response was a lawyer-drafted statement praising collaborative studio culture. Translation, no comment. Mariah Carey, meanwhile, watched the uproar with a knowing half-smile. Back in 2002, she told Larry King that some singers don't have to sing their own songs, darling. 2 decades later, her quip landed like prophecy, and veteran producers quietly confirmed the loophole session singers sign away royalties. Labels layer their takes under the stars the star mimics. The track and the public never detects the swap. If a voice can be substituted so easily, what else might be swapped without us noticing? The saga spread beyond Ashanti. Detective-minded stans dug up an old Christina Milian interview from 2003 in which she coyly referred to songs I've sung that the world doesn't know are mine. When Milian's demo for Play leaked, listeners heard her bright timbre layered under Lopez's final vocal, especially in the stacked "Come On DJ" chants. Veteran engineer Troy Hightower later admitted on a live stream that he was ordered to blend Milian's hook until you can't tell where Christina ends and Jay starts. Producers defended the practice. It's no different from ghostwriting in rap. Critics countered that rap ghostwriters generally receive publishing credit, while ghost vocalists vanish into liner note footnotes if they're mentioned at all. The controversy reignited discussion about gender and power. Why do we celebrate an MC raising a ghostwriter, but shrug when a female pop star appears to borrow a throat? As debate raged, Lopez's team booked a slick Apple Music interview meant to calm the storm. Midway through, the host asked directly, "Do you sing all your own parts?" Lopez smiled tightly, answered, "Of course," and pivoted to her skincare line. The clip backfired, spawning memes of a talking lipstick tube mouthing Ashanti's verses. Merchandise followed tees reading "I'm realish" and mugs labeled "Stream the vocalist, not the ventriloquist." By the 2010s, the music industry's gravity had shifted from radio directors to algorithm curators. One leaked slide deck from a major streamer showed that landing in the first 3 slots of a flagship playlist could inflate a single's week 1 streams by 800%. Those coveted positions weren't doled out randomly. They were negotiated over sushi dinners and equity swaps. Jay-Z's Rock Nation, armed with stock in multiple platforms, became a master of the new terrain. Beyoncé's releases arrived with day-one banner placement, global homepage takeovers, and algorithmic boosts timed to hit just before chart data closed. Mariah tried playing the game. In 2018, she rolled out Caution, with a slick social campaign and high-gloss listening parties, yet the singles barely grazed the curated lists. A streaming exec later admitted off-record that you have to agree to certain exclusives to secure premium slots. Mariah's team, wary of locking her catalog behind one paywall, declined and watched her numbers stall. Labels shrugged. The market has spoken. Fans countered, algorithms don't count as a free market when only 3 companies write the code. Award show optics sealed the narrative. At the 2023 Grammys, cameras devoted full-minute reaction shots to Beyoncé's every outfit change, while Mariah's tribute segment was squeezed between commercials. Social media called it natural generational turnover. Industry veterans muttered that it looked more like a managed eclipse. Power couples who greased the machinery soared. Solo icons who questioned it found their spotlights gradually dimmed. But dimming a spotlight doesn't extinguish the bulb, and Mariah was quietly collecting new fuel. Playlist politics had an even darker side. Data profiles. Streaming companies create shadow dossiers predicting your skip threshold, genre tolerance, and mood swings. When Beyoncé's team delivered a new single, engineers adjusted the discovery algorithm for users who typically abandon tracks after 45 seconds, ensuring the first chorus arrived by the 35-second mark. The tweak was small but effective, adding millions of completed plays that count toward chart rules. Mariah's camp, by contrast, favored slow-burn compositions with 20-second instrumental intros, deadly under the new metrics. Her artistry, once an asset, became an algorithmic liability. Consultants urged her to chop intros and shorten bridges. She refused, quipping, "I write symphonies, not ringtones." Behind closed doors, those words were labeled non-compliant. Some insiders claim a major platform suppressed her subsequent single by excluding it from autoplay sequences that follow finished tracks. To test the theory, Lamb Twitter staged a listening party using VPN masks to replicate thousands of unique user profiles. For 1 hour, they streamed a new Mariah cut called Portrait across dummy accounts. The results spike detected no playlist ads registered. An employee later leaked an internal message instructing staff to ignore inorganic bursts. When the Lambs showed log evidence, their activity mirrored typical fan-driven spikes credited to other artists. The platform went silent. The incident sparked a week-long boycott that shaved 2% off the service's U.S. subscriber base. In early 2025, Mariah vanished from Twitter and Instagram, resurfacing only in paparazzi shots outside a Manhattan post-production studio. Rumor said she was recording voiceover for a streaming docuseries produced by director Lee Daniels, working title Butterfly vs. Machine. Crew members leaked whispers of Banker's Box archives lined in red velvet, packed with handwritten diaries, D8 tapes, and internal Sony emails dating back to 1998. One memo reportedly bears the header collision strategy, instructing marketing staff to prioritize J.Lo release delay glitter assets until further notice. Another chain shows sample clearance requests for Firecracker marked approved for Lopez, but pending executive review for Carey, all within 48 hours. There are even studio logs listing Ashanti and Christina Milian as background vocalists on songs the public believed were pure Lopez. If the documents air, unredacted lawyers predict a storm of revived breach of contract claims. The series, insiders say, ends with Mariah stepping into an empty theater, cueing isolated vocal tracks from 1991 and 2025 side by side, unchanged range, same glass-shattering resonance. She then turns to camera, truth ages well. Hype expires. Test audiences at a secret screening reportedly applauded for a full minute. Netflix, Max, and Amazon are locked in a bidding war. Release timing whispers point to September 2026, the 25th anniversary of Glitter's troubled debut, giving Carey the last word on a chapter once written off as a meltdown. While cameras rolled on the Duke series, Carey's legal team quietly filed Freedom of Information requests against the FCC to unearth 2001 radio correspondence. The theory, payola disguised as consulting fees funneled through third-party promoters, artificially boosted Lopez spins while blacklisting Loverboy. Lawyers also subpoenaed hard drives from a defunct mastering house rumored to hold the unreleased Mariah-Ashanti duet, tentatively titled Same Song, Different Throat. Industry politicos are nervous. A mid-tier label exec speaking anonymously admitted, if she digs up concrete proof of pay-for-play, the entire New Music Friday economy could be reclassified as paid advertising. That means disclosures, refunds, maybe even class action suits from subscribers who thought they were hearing merit-based picks. One attorney predicted mass contract renegotiations. If ghost vocal cases gained traction, session singers could claim back royalties. We're talking tens of millions. Even brands are hedging. A sneaker company slated to launch a co-branded line with Lopez in 2026 inserted a break clause triggered by adverse revelations concerning core artistic integrity. Meanwhile, luxury houses courted Carey for holiday campaigns, wagering that authenticity will be the new gold standard. A marketing analyst noted, "There's money in being the phoenix, especially if you were prematurely cast as ashes. Behind every public reveal sits a private clock." Carey insiders whisper that Hard Launch Day has a code name Midnight Lark, and that a rough cut already exists fully scored with strings recorded at Abbey Road. Only 3 people have the unlock key, each holding a fragment of the password, a precaution inspired by how unfinished versions of Glitter leaked in 2001. This time, Mariah vows nothing escapes until she presses send. The security measures add drama, but they also underscore the stakes. If the series lands unedited, it will set precedent for megastars airing corporate dirty laundry. Imagine Prince's estate dropping unreleased tapes detailing his battles for master ownership, or Taylor Swift publishing boardroom audio from her Big Machine negotiations. A successful Carey rollout could open floodgates for legacy artists to weaponize archives against labels turning memoir into accountability theater. Streaming services crave that spectacle. Documents leaked to Variety show execs predicting double prestige, high watch time numbers, plus an evergreen bump in catalog streams. They're budgeting for international billboards and a simultaneous audio companion podcast. One PowerPoint slide reads, "Whistle note moment == meme opportunity." Another bullet offers interactive lyric screens, so viewers can toggle demo and final versions of disputed tracks, hearing the substitutions in real time. Economists tracking creative labor have already begun running models. One white paper from NYU's Stern School estimates that if session singers reclaim just 5% of streaming revenue from tracks where their uncredited vocals appear, annual payouts would shift by $48 million worldwide. Labels warn that margins are already thin. Indie advocates counter that transparency would drive user engagement, offsetting costs. Meanwhile, Congress quietly schedules a hearing on ethics and equity in digital music distribution, citing forthcoming high-profile disclosures. Lobbyists scramble drafting testimony that frames credit corrections as existential threats to innovation. Opponents prepare playlists of 30-second clips demonstrating vocal swaps, planning to play them live on C-SPAN. The optics of lawmakers nodding along to mislabeled hooks could etch permanent change into statute. Beyond money and policy lies reputation. Social media studies show Gen Z rates authenticity above flawless vocals when ranking favorite artists. If ghost vocal scandals peak at the same moment Carey offers unfiltered master takes, the cultural shift could be irrevocable. PR firms are already coaching clients on new talking points. Admit studio help credit collaborators frame it as inclusion. Anything less risks sounding like 1999 in a 2025 world. Pop history is usually penned by whoever owns the microphone, the masters, and the marketing budget. But microphones can be unplugged, contracts can surface, and budgets can evaporate when public trust collapses. If Mariah's Red Velvet files reach daylight, classroom case studies will cite her saga as proof that talent alone never guaranteed fair play. Beyoncé may reveal she fought silent battles of her own. Jennifer Lopez may argue she simply played by rules she didn't create. Yet the bigger revelation will be systemic algorithms that anoint contracts that muzzle, and the ease with which a melody or a voice can be reassigned to fit a corporate storyline. For fans, the takeaway is simple but seismic question. The credits value the demo, and remember that the loudest singer in the final mix isn't always the one who earned the note. As for the industry, it now waits like a glass goblet beneath a gathering whistle note, unsure whether it will ring beautifully or shatter on impact. Behind every public reveal sits a private clock. Carey insiders whisper that Hard Launch Day has a codename, Midnight Lark, and that a rough cut already exists fully scored. If you're counting down, mark your calendar in pencil, not ink. Contracts can buckle, servers can crash, and non-disclosure clauses can mutate overnight. But one number will stay stubborn: 19. That's how many self-written number ones Mariah Carey scored before algorithms stole center stage, and it's the metric she'll measure her comeback against. When her whistle breaks the silence, listen for echoing decimals: 19, then 20, then 21 each, a ledger line she intends to reclaim. The countdown resumes.